Well, I'm 30 seconds early, but I thought that would be okay for all the time I've missed this week. And I want to say, hey, well, I saw Brianna was here 15 minutes, and I see Morgan Snow is here. That might be it for right now because it's awfully late. So, welcome to the captain's cabin. And we didn't do a show tonight, but I thought we might as well try to do the informal part of the show tonight and start doing a little chatting. So it's now 10:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if anybody wants to come on in, come on in. People might not have even been notified about this yet, but that's okay. So I've been gone all day with Rainey at the art show, and Brianna says she'll be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. Roger Rabbit, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. Put out a late announcement because we just got home, frankly, from this art show. So I finally got a little announcement sent out. So people are probably either just getting notified of it or haven't been notified at all. So welcome, Roger. And so we were outside all day in the wind, and it was a gorgeous day. Hardly a cloud in the sky, about 70 degrees to 73 degrees, low humidity and dew points, but very windy. So it was kind of funny. It was very cool in the shade, but very warm in the sun. So if you sat in the shade for a minute or under our tent for a few minutes, our shop, and you got a little chilly. You can see I had to wear a warmer shirt. Just step out into the sunshine, and it was great. So we get to warm up, and then you get too hot in the sun, you go back in under the tent or into the shade, and you got cooled off. It was very nice. The way life was meant to be. Hey, Steve Clark, good to see you. Hey, Durwood, yo, yo, yo. Ho, ho, ho. And so we had a fun day today. And that's why we had to miss the show tonight. This was Rainey's first ever art show, outdoor art event, and she had her tumblers and all that stuff set up under a tent today. And so we had a good time with that. I always loved doing events like this and selling at shows and stuff. I enjoy it. We used to do quite a bit of it when I was a bit younger. I had a couple of buddies, and I may have mentioned this on the show before. I had a couple of buddies, and we had a little company called Three Celts and Company. And with Three Celts and Company, we started by saying, you know what, we had to put a little catalog together, and we had to do a couple of the Scottish and the Celtic events around the country, and so we did Scottish, Welsh, Irish books and swords and dirks and daggers and jewelry and music CDs mostly. And we sold kilts and T-shirts. One of my partners was a T-shirt imprinter, the old-fashioned way with the big octopus and the ink. And so we do our own designs, and then he'd do imprints and take them to the show with his hot press, and we'd do shirts there. And so we did all that stuff. And we would dress up in our kilts and usually our Renaissance Festival era costuming. And so that's how we did our shows when we do all the Scottish events and the Celtic events and Irish fairs and stuff like that. And that was back in the mid to the late 90s. Man, we had a good time with that stuff. It was always a lot of fun. One of the high points in memory of things that I've done. And that wasn't even a big thing. It was just a fun thing, stuff that we did. And so I always enjoyed that. And so Rainey got to get into it now, doing her own show. And she's done a couple of little shows in the past for some of the things she's done. But this was her big first-time event. So I wanted to be there, and I wanted to help her out as much as I could. And she had some, it was okay. I think we made about $300 today, but small show, small town, and I don't know that they had 1,000 people go through there. And it's tomorrow as well. The only problem with tomorrow is it looks like it's going to be cold and raining all day. So if that case, might not be as day. Today was nice, just being out in the sun and the wind and all of that stuff. Roger says that sounds like a fun day. I hope to set up an event like that soon and sell the dyed disc golf discs I make. That'd be fantastic, Roger. That would be a lot of fun. I'd like to set up there, if it was nice enough tomorrow, I might set up to do some readings at the table, tarot. I might, I've only got a handful of books on hand, but I could bring some of those. So anyway, there's that. So Grumpy Stack, how you doing? Good to see you. My hair is messed up. Did Rainey beat the hell out of you? She sure did. And I'll let you think whatever you want to think there. So Mama's happy, Daddy's happy. So it wasn't a blockbuster financial day. It was a small art fair. So we did all right. And for a small art fair. And a lot of work, a lot of prep work to get up to it. But that was we had a good time with it. And boy, that's all I got to say about that particular thing. So hold on. I got to get something to drink. I'm going to step over here. Hang on, guys. Be back in. Well, I'm not really even going anywhere. I'm just walking over here. And I got to get something to drink. If I have anything to drink in here, I don't. Did Ellery sell all my extra sodas?
No, you just haven't filled your stuff in.
What's that?
You just haven't filled your pop. Every time you take pop out, nobody fills it.
I put like 12 of them in there 3 days ago. All right. I guess I've got nothing to drink unless I go upstairs. So get some ice water or something. Anyway. This grump needs to turn in soon, says Grumpy Stack. Sleep like a log or like a dog. So, yeah, we got to do the same. We got to print out a few things. We got to replenish a couple of tumblers that we sold today. And no pop, no soda, no nothing. There's all kinds of stuff in there, but I can't drink sugar pop. I haven't drunk sugar pop in years. So when I drink a soda pop, it's usually a diet soda because I don't like the sugar. And I don't care about the whole saccharin thing. I don't drink enough of that for that to be a problem. So I'll sometimes have a 12-pack and it'll last me 2 weeks. So that gives you an idea how much soda pop I drink. But I do like to get some. You know what? I'm going to leave you all on your own for a minute here. I'm going to leave the open mic. So you can hear all the clutter going about in the background, but all the kids are sleeping. They're pretty much down, except for Flynn. Rainey's over there at her desk. Ellie's crashed. So that's good. I'm going to run upstairs. I got to get something wet and cold on my throat. I'll be right back. All right. Sit tight. Talk amongst yourselves. Now that had to have been riveting radio or podcasting. So, okay. Cords everywhere. And I'm back. Not much to talk about. We're not doing a radio show. It's just basically the captain's cabin without having had the radio show first is all we're doing. So, what's going on with everybody? Who wants to call in tonight? You can, you know. I'm going to copy to the clipboard. Raina, you might want to check and see if those prints came out when you're free. Oh, wait, I got an exclamation point. Connected to printer. It says it's printing, so we'll see. We'll see. Just make sure you got Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Scotty. There you go. Doing a little work while we're doing this. And I'll probably send like the Bigfoot one through and stuff like that. So we have to print up some more tumblers tonight while we're at it. Here's the old first series Captain Kirk that I'm drinking out of. Hey, Sean Stroik. Good to see you. Glad you made it in. Morgan Snow. Good to see you as well. I don't know if I said hi to you. I don't know if you were here at the very beginning or if my memory's playing tricks on me. Who else we got? I was on edge, Scotty Roberts, Sean Stroik says. So, yeah, you were talking amongst yourselves right now. So that's all right to talk amongst yourselves. And call on. Yeah, you can call in, brother. Anybody who wants to call in can call in. We aren't going to go very long tonight. I just wanted to come in and make an appearance because I owe it to you guys because you support this show. And I've had 3 nights this week where I haven't done a show. So, which is a very odd week for me. So, it's riveting radio. Scintillating live radio, as we used to say. So, I hope you're enjoying yourselves immensely. Who's got a topic? Who wants to talk about something? Since we're being, hey, Brianna. She stopped by out at the art show today, too. So it was fun seeing Brianna out there. And so we stood around, hung around, talked, and did stuff. What a gorgeous day, eh, Brianna, today? It was absolutely gorgeous day. And we could only wish we had a day like that for tomorrow, too. But I don't think that's going to happen. From what I see. Here, let's find out. Hold on. Hey, Siri, what's the weather forecast for Saturday? 73 degrees, partly cloudy, it says, Rainy. Chance of rain, 20%. So her weather thing on her phone told her, rain in the morning, sprinkling, rain in the late morning, sprinkling, rain in the afternoon, sprinkling, and cold, 55 degrees. This says 73 degrees for the high tomorrow. That's from weather.com. Not local, but I'm just looking at it right here. Hourly forecast, it's now 11 degrees. Where is this looking? That says Somerset, Wisconsin. 11 degrees? Really? Okay, something's off with weather.com. Unless they're doing it in Celsius. Why would they do that? That's weird. There's stuff going on weather.com. I'm gonna start this all over again. Somerset, Wisconsin. Let's see. It still comes up with the wrong stuff. At the top, it says Somerset, Wisconsin. 71. No, it says 11. Here, let's try the 54025 for the zip code. Let's see what it says. Singapore. It's listing it as Singapore. Weather Channel is fucked up. So that's or weather.com. No, that's the Weather Channel. Weather.com, it says. I'm going to try one more time. Somerset. Or where do you want to search? Here's my zip code. There it is, Somerset, Wisconsin. Says it's 11 degrees outside and it's going to be 13 degrees with an afternoon high of 19 degrees. That's got to be Celsius. But it doesn't say. Okay, I'm done with weather.com. Bye. Celsius. Oops. There we go. So there you go. If anybody can look up the weather forecast, look it up for New Richmond, Wisconsin for tomorrow. New Richmond, Wisconsin. Tell me what the weather's going to do tomorrow. Why, thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Brianna. You want to look up for us what the weather's going to be tomorrow with your reliable weather service? Weather.com ain't reliable. It seems to me the last time I looked them up a couple of months ago, they did the same thing. It was some weird nonsense like that. So, Morgan Snow. Have you read or heard about Paul Wallace or Manly P. Hall? Manly P. Hall I have read. Paul Wallace, not off the top of my head. But I vaguely think I've heard about him, but I haven't read him. 71, partly cloudy, low of 51. Is it supposed to rain tomorrow, or is there a chance? What it said on my thing just here now was a 20% chance of rain, which isn't bad. A lot of nonsense, says Sean Stroik. Exactly. So, yeah, if it's as nice tomorrow as it was today, be happy. So, no, we're not on. Michelle, I see. Oh, I thought that was Michelle Canham Free. It's not. Different Michelle. Saying they're visiting a friend. I'm wondering if my show is on Saturday as well, and what's it called? I don't do Saturdays. This art show, it's not on Sunday too, is it?
Nope.
So I don't do Saturdays, but I do Sunday at 9:00 a.m. As you all know, it's Sunday. And I'm just going to say I'm on live right now. Let's see. Let me give her a link. What is our link for tonight's show? The live link is, hold on. It feels like I'm doing business outside of the show and not really talking to anybody on here. It's because I am. So sorry. There. All right. So, may have somebody come in and visit us tonight. Morgan Snow says, did not complain about the weather today. At least heat index wasn't 100 degrees. Morgan, what part of the country are you in again? What state are you in? Are you in a hot state or a different state? See, we're up here way in the north central United States, just a few hours from the Canadian border. So it tends to be cooler here than it is in other places. So, let's see. Steve Clark says the weather says 71 for tomorrow on the Weather Channel. There you go. It says 11, and I thought maybe there's something stuck in the cookies or the whatever they call them. But I kept refreshing it. It's not going to give me anything more better than that. So it's reading something wrong. So Morgan Snow, what do you know about Paul Wallace? What do you know about Manly P. Hall? I've got some books of Manly P. Halls up on the wall here. So what do you know about him? What do you got to share about him tonight? Hey, good evening, Michelle Canham Free. Good to see you. And Durwood, gonna reload. I only see 2 peeps in chat. I don't know how many people are actually here. There's 11 people visible. So there's a lot more can hang in the wings, though, without coming into the chat. So, because I am curious about something. If I go look at this, it's always different. If I go over here to look to see, let's see, hang on. According to this, it doesn't tell me here. Well, it should. So it says, yeah, we've got 11 people watching right now, is what it says. So that's literally 11 people watching. And that's the best 11 in the world right now. And so all I wanted was freaking olives and had to throw them away. Oh, were they bad olives? See, I don't get cravings for things like olives. What do you guys get cravings for when you're hungry? What do you get a craving for? Now, again, this is not scintillating radio. It's just talk. I'm just blowing some steam at the end of the day, cooling my heels for the end of the day, making up for being gone so much this week, feeling bad about it. So, why, Brianna? They hardly go bad. Olives hardly go bad, yeah. Isn't it they find old shipwrecks like in the Mediterranean with olive oil that hasn't gone bad from 2,000 years ago? So, because it's been sealed all that time. Olives are nice in a good, cheap beer. And I put olives in beer. That's weird. See, I'm not a big fan of olives. I wish I were. I look at olives and I go, wow, it's a historical fruit or vegetable or plant. And, there's Brianna. Shazam!
Hello.
I see you showered since I've last seen you.
Yeah.
Or were you
I
caught
needed
in the
to.
rain? It's not raining. So.
No.
So what's up with your olives?
They had mold in them.
Nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So you're eating pickles. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. I can do pickles when I have a hankering for pickles. So let's see if I can adjust this a little better. There we go. So just seeing what people are saying here. I've been craving salt and vinegar chips lately. Been on a mission to find the best brand. I've got some old Dutch salt and vinegar chips from this afternoon in my car. So anyway, so what'd you think of the art show today?
It was good.
It was fun. It was nice. It was gorgeous out. That's what made it so nice. Barbie D is here. Hey, Barbie D. Good to see you.
Hi, Barbie D.
Iowa X says, that's why you don't put your fingers in the jar. You don't want to pull out moldy olives. So,
Yeah.
ew, said Rainey from the other side of the room. So,
I'm just sitting with a jar of pickles now.
now, are those dill pickles? Garlic dills? Sandwich dill chip? There you go. Vlasic pickles. Remember the stork they had with Vlasic pickles? Doing kind of a Groucho Marx thing. Vlasic pickles, the only ones that are refrigerated. Get them in your store today. So.
He hates pickles.
Why?
Because he's weird.
Oh, she froze up. Oh, there you are.
Oh. Right.
You froze up in the middle of something.
I'm reading the comments.
Oh, okay. Want any ice cream with those pickles, Iowa X?
Ew. No.
Ew. What was your thing when you were pregnant? What did you crave?
With Haley, it was you have to go to the gas station there, the blue metallic bag with a guy with a big nose. They were called hot fries.
Oh, yeah.
That pickles. Well, I
Okay.
guess that wouldn't be. I always ate pickles. Hot fries, and I think that's it. And then Harley was chicken quesadillas from Taco Bell and beefy 5-layer burritos.
Nice. Nice.
I could actually eat. Say.
Professor Bauer is in the room. French fries dipped in a chocolate shake. That doesn't do it for me. You know, the weirdest thing I think that I've had, and it has nothing to do with pregnancy, obviously, but we used
Are
to
you
dip
sure?
Oreo cookies in Guinness. Yeah, baby.
Oh,
Yeah, now you're talking. You know, I'm not a drunk, but I like to dip my cookies in my beer. It's a great dessert. What did somebody else say? Andy Cap's hot fries, says Durwood. Clausen pickle. I'm a Clausen pickle man myself, says Roger Rabbit. I can do Clausen. Was it Clausen? Did I mix up my Vlasic and my Clausen?
I usually do I think they're the Milwaukee pickles.
It sounded almost German. I'm German. I don't know your language very well, but I keep my Vlasic in my Clausen. Don't go digging in my Clausen. You may find my Vlasic. Vlasic, says Grumpy Stack. That was the stork. So, yes, from Wendy's, said Morgan Snow. Probably the chocolate shake from Wendy's you're talking about?
Oh, that is the only time I ever go to Wendy's is for the Frosty.
Oh, the Frosties. I haven't had one of those in probably a good decade. Hey, bruh. I'm not bringing you in because I don't know who you are, but thanks for stopping into the wings. Come on over into the chat room and tell everybody who you are and what you're up to and what you're all about. And then we'll determine if we're going to bring you into our small gathering of people tonight. And this, of course, is not the official radio show. This is technically the after show, but I didn't do a show tonight. So this is just kind of doing a non-after show with our little core of followers. There's Professor Bauer. We can bring him in. Add him to the stream. Professor Bauer. Wie geht's?
Greetings and hallucinations.
Greetings
hi.
and felicitations.
I just have to elaborate on this French fries and chocolate shake thing.
Oh, yes.
I was one of the many, but the few, who grew up in Southern California in the 60s and 70s. And right down the street from where I lived was one of, I guess it's now the last remaining original. I think it was the second McDonald's. And it was just a walk up. There was no drive through. There was no inside. There was no bouncy castle thing. None of that stuff. And you could get a Big Mac for 65 cents, an order of fries for 25 cents.
Dude.
And the chocolate shake, I think, was another 50 cents. It was like $1.50.
That's what it was when I was a kid, too. We'd walk up to the, as kids, we'd walk up to the mall and we'd go to the Burger King up there or McDonald's, and you get the Big Mac or their Burger King's equivalent, the Whopper. And we'd spend about $1.50 to get, a Whopper, fries, and a malt.
Mm-hmm.
And now, that'll get you a couple of French fries if you're lucky and starving.
You might get some of the real hard ones that they usually leave at the bottom of the basket that they pull out. But there was another one, I was maybe 15 miles from Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And there's a place just before the Huntington Beach Pier called Bolsa Chica. And Bolsa Chica was this big open beach with these large concrete fire pits, and it was always a first come first serve. You stake your camp. So I'd take my guitar and a 6-pack of Colt 45,
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yuck.
And
the
right at the corner of Warner and Warner and PCH was a Jack in the Box.
Ah.
So I'd
Oh, that is so good.
I'd get a bonus Jack, big old thing of fries, and take my 6-pack of Colt 45 and my guitar and go grab a fire pit and sit there with my guitar and wait for women to show up. Usually guys would show up. And if you had more than 3 Colt 45s before you ate that bonus Jack, you were going to decorate the sand with large heaves. And I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And Colt 45 was probably one of the worst beers you could drink.
Hey, hold on. Alias, recapitulate. You have a box? So they left your Jack in your box? Oh, man. I'm sad to hear that. So maybe you can go out for the swim team at your local university. So that's not very police. This is not famous on the internet. These are all the people that like to come in and have fun with us. When I drink, it makes me vomit. Well, how much do you drink, pot awful? I like to drink too, but I don't drink to vomit. Jeez.
Well, I haven't drank in a week. I've been on a detox and enjoying
really?
that very much.
I was going to say you look really clean tonight. So
that's what a haircut and a shave will do for you.
Yeah, you got the haircut and everything.
Anyway, the main reason I popped in, I was just about to put on Black Widow from the Marvel.
Oh, yes. No, I
universe.
haven't seen that.
And,
I haven't either.
Brianna's like Black Widow. She comes from some secret society of hand killers. I could kill you with my hands.
That's it. I've seen, I think I started it when it came out last year, and I got maybe halfway through it and probably passed out. But so I just fired it up and I said, well, I better go check and make sure I'm not missing anything on the interweb. And when I saw that you were coming on, I thought,
that's a really weird time for him to be coming on.
It's a weird time. He's been in and out and absent most of the week. And I thought, I need to stop in and see what the hell's going on.
Well, as you know, we do a daily show here, have been for years. But this week was an odd week. I took Monday off for the holiday. Then Wednesday, we had the minor junk going on over here, but ended up having to cancel the show Wednesday, which is so small time to be able to do that. I have to do that. But then tonight, I was helping Rainey with the art show all day. And so we were outside all day at the big art event. And I thought, I'm not going to get back here till 9:30-ish. So why don't I just do the after show, which those of you who are new to the channel, the Captain's Cabin is the after show, kind of the afterglow, the you basking in me for a little bit longer than on the official radio show from 9 to 10 Central. And so, so all you new guys tonight, you're just basking in me tonight. And
so there's
I thought I'd just come out and do that tonight.
A couple of things I'll toss into the cabin here.
Put that, by the way, put that Vlasic in your Clausen, or that Jack in your box.
All
right, go ahead.
For those that are
Marina, what are you laughing at? You don't even know what we're talking about.
For those of us who pay
Prof.
attention to the cosmos,
yes,
you mentioned something about astrology earlier, I think. Today, finally, Mercury has gone direct out of its meandering retrograde.
Have Rainey come over and say hi in a minute too.
And I don't know about all y'all, which is Southern for
all
everybody.
Y'all.
Yeah, it's Southern for everybody. I learned it living in Atlanta for 21 years. Told my daughters when we first moved there that if the first time I heard that come out of their mouth, we were leaving. So they never said it, but I picked it up. Next thing I know, I'm saying, hey, all y'all. And it's like, God, that just sounds so disconnected or something. But So that's one thing. And so if you've been having technical difficulties in any shape or form, which I have had for the last 2 weeks, which has driven me absolutely.
I've had a few.
That's one of Mercury's nature and habits and characteristic. But
I know so little about that stuff.
I tell you what, it there's a reason that the ancients and all of the mythos that we know of today that we've semi-interpreted,
Yes,
all of them have star people mythos and legends. And they paid attention to the stars because they knew that in the metrics of the matrix, that all of those lights that move around up in the sky
yes,
have correlations to certain types of events and or energies, where the energies create the events. So astrology, you wouldn't have astrology without astronomy, right?
that's right.
There you go. You're restricted.
Hold on. Keep talking.
So you wouldn't
Hello?
have those things if
Hello?
you didn't pay attention.
Hello. Hey, who's calling? Restricted? Larry
We're
Gobbins.
trying to do about your car's
What
extended
can I do
warranty.
for you, Larry? What's that?
What are you wearing, Jake, from
thank
State
you.
Farm?
You're on my phone, not really on the show. So, oh no, I'm not going to put you on speaker, Larry. Come on. Give me your phone. Give me your phone number. I'll put you on speaker. Hold on there, Professor and Brianna. What's your country code? All right. Yeah, you sound American. Yeah.
Brianna, you have that eyebrow lift.
Yeah. No, you know what? I have too many people that like to do dastardly deeds when they actually come on the air. So I got to trust you. You know, we got to go out and we got to go get a cottage by the shore, you know, and order dinner out and things like that. And then I'll let you come on the show.
He can see my web toe.
Oh, and Brianna will show you her webbed toes. Is she a doll? She's a doll, but not a doll. She's not a, she's she's there listening. So I have to be very careful. Don't you flip me up on there. Oh, dog with webbed toes. I thought you said a doll. No. She's got webbed toes,
Yeah.
but she's fairly she's fairly undoggish. So sadly, no. Yeah, but she used to be my neighbor. That counts. It's like across the street. Yeah, she's great. So her husband's pretty good dude too. So, yeah. What, like me? No, he doesn't have a rapier. I've got a rapier, I've got a broadsword, and I've got a couple of other things as well. So no, and no, my rapier hangs on my wall. So
Well, if he's watching you, you can see it.
yeah, it's right back there. If you're watching, that's the rapier. Yeah. I know it's but that's the thing is it's hard to do that to a guy like me because I enjoy it. So there it is. So remember, parry thrust, and a lunge, and then a punto reverso and parry thrust. Yes, this is on the thrust. And the thrust could be either with your rapier or with your dagger. So if you're a rapier dagger guy, then you got one in each hand. Yeah, that's the motion right there. Oh, okay, brother. Which do I prefer? Do you prefer clams or oysters? Antoninus. What? And so, Rainey, you come over here. So, no. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to on there. Chat it up in the chat room a bit, and we'll see if we'll bring you in later. All right, brother. Bring your rapier wit. So, hell yeah. Bada boom. All right. So, as you were saying, Professor Bauer, sorry about that.
That's all right. So the Mercury retrograde is gone direct, which we're still in the shadow of it, but the technical nonsense should alleviate for those that may have run into any kind of craziness like that, because it happens damn near every time Mercury does that. And that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons it has the reputation it does. Also, today, we have 5 planets in alignment simultaneously. Last time it happened was,
So, what does that mean?
so that means if you, in fact, yeah, if you look,
Venus, Rainy wants to know if Venus and Uranus are in alignment.
well, we were talking last week about if men are from Mars and women are from Venus, then your hypothesis is from Uranus.
Your hypothesis is from your Uranus. Hello, you're on the win $1,000 line. What can I do for you? Hey, good. How you doing? I don't know, some guy. I have no idea. Yeah, I didn't want to put him up on the radio because I don't know him. The only people I put live are people I know, people I trust, people I would.
Hell, he'll even put me on.
My left nut. So yeah, it's very limited for my call-in StreamYard show. It is. So, but I invite trusted enough. Well, I've got your phone number now, I guess. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about if I bring you in? Yeah, well, yeah, that was restricted. Or a rapier guy, yeah. Do you know my ex-wife, when we lived in Detroit, she had a gynecologist. I swear, I kid you not. His name was Ralph Raper was his name. R-A-P-E-R. I kid you not. I make no jest. Yeah, probably not Raper, but I have not. Well, I haven't refused to put you on yet. I don't know which one you are over there. So, which one are you over there in the chat room? Pod Awful? What? Do you want to talk to Dr. Bauer? Professor, doctor.
Yeah, I've been called a lot of things, and doctor is definitely one of them.
I get called doctor all the time in Egypt. So I got a big fan of yours over here.
Huh?
What would you say you're in Potawatomi? What was your name over there? Pod something? Pod. All right. You're a Bowerhead.
What? That sounds sad.
Keno, right on. Groovy. Yeah. His salt lamp. It's almost as effervescent as the glow of Professor Bauer himself. So
it's a nice rock salt lamp that gives me a lot of great
I
juice.
like his room. I like his guitars. I like his whiteboard and all this stuff. Yes.
When you printed these up, were they at 102%?
No.
Okay. Because none of these are going to line up. They're all big.
Hang on 1 second there, Potawatomi. What?
They're all too big.
They're all too big.
It's not going to line up.
Son of a. Yeah, you wish. Because she's hot. But no, printouts for doing I don't know. Those are the ones I printed out last time.
Okay. I know they're too big for the tumblers. They won't line up.
I've said that to her before. So
Oh, I'm safe while transitioning. Okay.
And no, don't say that you said to say it. Yeah. Do you want me to print that again?
No, I don't. No, because I already cut them out and I'm not going to do them for tomorrow.
Okay, she's not going to do them for tomorrow.
I'm tired and crabby.
Been there. No. See, I read my wife's moods. I know when I can fuck around with her like that. Can't fuck around with her like that right now. She's in a mood. Hey, dude, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put you back into the chat room. You can talk to us there. I've cut off Professor Bauer. I want Professor. Yeah, you want me to ask him a question? What do you want to ask him? You know, he'd probably stroke your hair even. So long hair and pretty, you have pretty eyelashes. Oh, dude. Okay, I'm going to put you back in the chat room. We'll talk to you over there. That was Potawatomi, folks. He's over in the chat room. I don't know how he spells it. President Bauer. Sorry about President Bauer.
Don't go there because that would be one of the things that A, I would never want to do. B, I'd be a badass at it. So
that's right.
It's one of those things.
Keep talking for a second about this. I'm going to look at something for Rainey here. I just want to see what I did when I sent her that image. Which one do you have there? All of them. Well, the image size that I have, you go ahead and talk, Professor Bauer, if you can.
All right.
9.4 by 8.
So I put in the chat the 5 planets that are in alignment. And what that means is that they are in a physical line in their normal orbits as we see them from our
by 8.23.
So what that means is if you, well, what you can see is on the eastern horizon just before sunrise.
I can't change that.
You can see all the planets lined up together. And it's
keep talking. I'm sorry. I'm going to port my mic down for a minute and let you go.
So the best time to see them is just before sunrise. And you will see Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. And it's a very rare alignment. And it creates anytime planets, and this happens occasionally simply because of the orbital nature that we have and physically in the solar system. And one thing I will toss in that most people don't realize, when we see the typical representation of the solar system, we see a sun in the middle, and whether you're looking at it, vertically or horizontally, it always shows. It's always shown as we are all orbiting the equator of the sun, which is completely wrong. We are in a helical orbit around the sun. And if any of you have ever seen DJ Sadju on YouTube, he's created some beautiful animations of the way that our planet is actually, the way our solar system is actually moving through the cosmos in our little arm of the Milky Way galaxy. So if you imagine a comet and its tail, that's the way that the sun is moving through the galaxy in the arm that we apparently inhabit. So all of the planets are helical and they're following the sun. There is no ecliptic plane wherein all of the planets are level or even in their distribution from the sun. We are following the sun as it spins off through the galaxy. We also have this thing that, and this ties into what's known as the precession of the equinox, which is where the tilt of the Earth, as we rotate, we're tilted, and that tilt takes about 26,000 years for it to go all the way around and be back to the same point. Well, for those who have not heard about the crossing of the galactic plane, what that means is that if you
I'm sorry, Rainey. What was that?
All across your galactic plane.
There you go.
Okay.
She'll cross your galactic plane.
My plane has been galactic-sized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Professor Galactus.
As we see from our perspective, and this is all relative to perspective, which is what we all experience in our individual realities, because we have a common plane of reality that we all inhabit so that we can do things like this and get along. But there are extensions of that band of frequencies that we can go in and out of, and a lot of other things go in and out of, and they come in and they mess with it, and then they leave, and weird stuff comes in and it gets bounced out, and some of it comes in and gets stuck and causes all kinds of havoc, cycles within cycles. But anyway, back to the galactic plane. If we are looking at what we believe, we are on the edge and we are looking into the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So there's a line that
Okay.
they have come up with that says, well, there is a center. So at that center perspective in that line, we spend 13,000 years above that plane, and then we cross it and spend 13,000 years below that plane. So there's this constant wave that we, as our solar system moving through this galactic arm, is constantly every 13,000 years it crosses it.
Constantly every 13,000 years.
Yeah, because everybody knows that change is the only constant, right?
Right.
So those two models, the helical movement of the solar system, of the planets, the way our sun is traveling through space, we are following the sun. We are not on the equal edge of the equatorial center of the sun.
Okay.
This is one of the many things that we've been told since they decided to come up with this stuff that is completely bullshit and wrong. One other thing is that we have an iron core in the middle of the earth. No, we don't. We have a plasma core. Another false narrative that's been pushed out there, and I know this gets a lot of people worked up, which I love stirring pots.
Sure.
But this whole thing of fossil fuel.
Yes.
Oil is not fossil based. It never has been. It never will be.
Why do they call it fossil fuel?
Because back in the 1890s, in a nice little conference over in Europe, when the guys that were handling all of this new oil thing, because when oil was originally discovered, it was used as a lubricant. It wasn't used as a fuel.
Oh.
So because it was, Jethro.
Black gold.
Yeah.
Texas tea.
Yeah. Who was that? Jethro or Jed Clamp?
Tull.
Jed
Jethro
Clamp.
Tull.
He shot something and up to the ground came a bubble and crude. Well, oil is not made from dinosaurs and flora and fauna that's been buried for hundreds or thousands or millions of years. It is a natural part of the Earth's geology. It's actually abiotic, meaning that it comes from the natural processes of the geology of the planet. They came up with the fossil component because they figured that the best way that they could control it was to do the old scarcity and abundance trick. So they said, well, this is fossil fuel. It's got carbon in it. So it must, we're going to say that it comes from these dead dinosaurs and all of that, and that it's non-renewable, which is complete bullshit. Oil is constantly generated from the geology of the planet. So we have a plasma core, not an iron core. We have fuel or oil, which is a natural part of the Earth's geology, to complete bullshit stories that have been used, concocted, curated, and carefully crafted to maintain control over said resources.
Okay.
and it's all a part of, people call it the great review or the great reset. I'm calling it the great rethink and the great reveal, because every domain of knowledge that I've dove into over the last 25, 30 years, once I get halfway through, I realize that half of what I've just examined is highly questionable. The other half is missing a shitload of other data that they have purposely kept out because
And
of
the other
blow-up
half I don't
narrative.
like as half as well as I'd like the other half of you. So yes.
So these things are a part of what we're seeing.
Right here, Riley.
we're coming through this period of controlled narrative and knowledge. And when the folks who created the internet unleashed it to the world back in the 90s, I know because I was there, I don't think that they
Brianna wasn't.
realized how quickly it would get away from them. And what's happening is that they can't control it. The amount of information that's available freely now, you can be more educated. Now, there's a difference between schooling and education. Schooling is
Indeed.
where they teach you what to think. Education is how to think. So you can learn just as much as anybody with a stamped piece of paper from any university, college, or whatever, without having to go through. In fact, MIT has released most of their course material online for free. But you can learn more about any particular subject than most of the people who are called quote unquote experts or academicians, right? The academic model, the learning model is completely failed everybody. The whole idea of this canceling student debt, I mean, that gets my fur ruffled, because I look at it and go, well, first of all, what was it that compelled you to go into debt for that kind of money to get a degree in humanities or to get a degree in something that you couldn't go use to pay back said loan?
Okay.
Where was the ROI, or return on investment, for that investment that you were making? And how did you calculate that? If you're going into college, you should have enough common sense. Somebody should have taught you math, a tad little bit of economics, for you to realize that's complete bullshit. So I'm really ground off about this forgiving student debt for people who didn't choose wisely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
forgiving student debt. Let's get a bunch of people who are already
you, Brianna.
well-to-do attorneys and doctors, and let's forgive the rest of their debt.
And before we start going on about, saddling, Joe Sixpack, all of us with that debt, what about all these universities and colleges that have these massive multi-billion-dollar endowments that took said money from people? I'm sure most of them were conned, and the other half of them didn't think for themselves, or they weren't taught to think for themselves. But these universities got these massive endowments with billions of dollars. Why don't they pay it back? Since they sold a product that was clearly flawed and was not something that was worth, even if it resulted in some kind of career where you could make the money back. We should be going after the universities, not only for that, but for all this other bullshit that they've been shoving down everybody's throat and up everybody's ass about the way that the world works. What's important? Why don't we have classes in at least middle and high school on how to balance a checkbook, how to change a tire? Most of the millennials that I know couldn't start a push mower. And you're like, wait a minute. So what's that degree again in? Liberal arts. Okay. Do you ever think about any kind of trade? Do you know how to start a push mower? Doesn't take a lot. You get behind it and you push it. You don't have to have electric start or any gas or anything else. You just push the damn mower. So anyway, I'm getting off into a rant here because I'm really
That's
pissed
okay.
off at the
I'm
way
waiting
that
for Brianna's input on this.
Brianna.
Brianna,
I'm just
I
trying
find that
not to
pithy
think.
and perspicacious. I give it a hearty thumbs up, Prof.
Well, it's stuff that, I mean, as I've watched this shit unfold over the last 30 plus years that I've really been paying serious attention to it. I knew back in the 70s when I left high school and started to go out and try to become a full-time musician. And I started looking around at all the stuff that just didn't make any sense. I wasn't sure what was going on, but just didn't feel right.
Hey, Amanda Berry, by the way. Good to see you here. Haven't seen you here for a while. Go ahead. She's from
Amanda?
Australia.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while.
So
anyway, all of these things are coming to a head. The systems that we have in place, our financial systems, our banking systems, all of this stuff, I'm a big proponent of
crikey.
the blockchain model, which is what creates cryptocurrencies. And if anybody's thinking about getting into crypto, I highly recommend it. Do it a piecemeal at a time. Do something to where you can be a part of it, because the Federal Reserve System that we have now, which is just over 100 years old, the entire model has created a boatload of band-aids, bottlenecks, bureaucrats, and bullshit. And they've done it so that they can maintain the control. And people go, well, what does this crypto shit mean? And it's all confusing and complicated. And blockchain, what the hell are you talking about?
See you, Barbie D.
So let me see if I can make a simple analogy to help people understand why it's important and why it's coming. If you go back, you don't have to go back too far, but if you go at least 500 years, you go back even further. The way in which we exchange
talking, I can hear you. I got to step over here.
Okay. The way that we are exchanging what we can see, consider things of value is through this monetary currency thing that has had a number of different iterations over the millennia. But what's happened is it's become the ability to barter. The simplicity of it is, I'm down the road and I got chickens. Scotty's down the road and he's got pigs. I want
Bree's
some pigs.
down the road and has cows.
Yeah, he's got pigs. I want some pigs. I've got chickens. He wants some
What?
chickens.
Stop having a cow breed.
Stop having a cow, Bree, Randy says. So
Sorry.
So if you think about the peer-to-peer barter, the simplicity of it is Scotty says, hey, I need some chickens. I go, hey, I need some pigs. We agree on how much of each we think is of equal exchange, and we do it. There's nobody down the road. There's nobody in the county, in the country, anywhere else who's going to get in the middle of that transaction. They don't need to, because we've both agreed on what the value of our exchange and our transaction is going to be, known as peer-to-peer, right?
Yep.
That's what blockchain and the cryptocurrencies that blockchain enables is bringing back. So once the current system falls and fails enough, everybody's been poking around, and you've got Amazon, MasterCard, Wells Fargo. You got all these major institutions which are now have blockchain or have crypto capabilities and are encouraging it, because they know that the currency that we currently use in the form of paper dollars has run its course. You can't go any further.
Yeah.
Especially in a global economy. So that's where cryptology, or not cryptology, but the crypto market and cryptocurrency, which is enabled by blockchain, is really important. It's going to take probably another 5 years for it to fully, or to have the presence and the ubiquity that is going to make a difference. But it's coming. It has to, because the system we have today has got so many middlemen in it, and from banks and mortgage institutions and SWIFT. I mean, all the different components that we have to go through to send money to people or to exchange value that two people agree upon is just a bunch of middlemen that are not adding value, that are increasing the cost of doing business.
Or as Amanda Berry says, internet invisible cash.
Well,
Riley says invest in whiskey and lead.
yes.
And earlier
good one.
he said something about golden slavery, the simpler days. That reminds me of a book I'm reading. And not to break into your reverie, Professor Bauer, but I'm reading a book
Please.
called Born to be Hanged. Not hung. That's a different thing. Born to be Hanged. It was about the Buccaneers under, I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Under the guy's last name was Ringrose. And I can't think of his first name, but he was a contemporary of Captain Henry Morgan. And it's this mission they undertook with the chief of one of the Central American tribes in Panama to go rescue a princess in 1680, a Cuna princess. He was head of the Cuna tribe. And they were talking about it was all back then. It was all for the Spaniards. The conquistadors went into the Cuna and they took them captive and they made slaves of them because they were being benevolent to them. They felt that was the most benevolent thing they could do to the Native Americans in Central America, was make them slaves because they would be able to teach them the ways of God and the ways of Europe and so on. And so, those were the good old days, certainly the nostalgic days, Riley, over there in the chat room, golden slavery. And so you want to read a good book about it, pick up Born to be Hanged. And you'll enjoy.
Who's Tom Bottle? Riley, you mentioned in the chat. I sound like somebody I don't know.
Oh, he's from the Shire. He's outside the Shire. That has something to do with J.R.R. Tolkien's work. The energetic fellow, very energetic, verbose. Kind of knew his stuff, and he was considered to be quite the talker. Oh, we lost Brianna. I think we might have put her to sleep, but it was already late for her.
I saw her pulling that blanket closer up to her head.
Yeah, I kept close enough. She'd get all snuggly with it. So
anyway, my point there is that the change that's afoot is massive, and it's going to be extreme. This is one of the things we talked about 3 years ago when I was talking about this concept of informatica. The first component of informatica is transformative disruption, and that's exactly what we are
experiencing tonight.
And it's going to get hot and heavy in ways that I think people are not anticipating, and they're certainly not aware of enough.
Yeah.
And
well, Brianna, you could have at least said goodnight, Jeez. Yeah.
So it's really a time to become educated, and I think that one of the things that people need to seriously consider is becoming an autodidact, which essentially is what the people with the approved academic pieces of paper that have some kind of stamp on them have become, with the exception of they're not as much auto, they're more filled didact, because they're going somewhere and somebody is telling them what to think. They're telling them what the narrative is. They're telling them this is the way things are. And if you really want to get a good dose of how screwed up the garden of science is, I highly recommend Rupert Sheldrake's Science Set Free. And it will blow your mind that the fundamental tenets of science, everything from the conservation of
Roger,
energy
stick
and
around.
matter.
We're not going to be here very much longer, so stick around, brother. Sorry, go ahead.
The
Doing my
concept
duties.
all since the Big Bang, there was all the matter and energy that was created at that point is always the same. One of the questions I always have for the Big Bang folks is that, so let me get this straight. There was an infinitesimally small amount of matter, energy, or something that was infinite. And all of a sudden it decided to become finite by exploding. So it unfolded from its infiniteness to this finite thing that we experience. So all of the chemical compositions, all of the energy that we see just unfolded into this state where we could exist. So my question is, does that mean that the information was also there before the Big Bang? Because how could it unfold into what it is?
Yeah.
How could all of the elements and constructs that we see actually exist if there wasn't an instruction set?
There had to be.
That, I mean, just logically, the way that our sciences are set up and all of that. But in this garden of science, all of it is about to fall apart. Everything that we've been taught, told, and beat into our heads is about to be shown to be bullshit. And that, I think, is just fascinating.
Yes.
We were talking last week at one point, and I think it was when you and Dave and I were on, and I made the point of, for at least for me, for the last 25, 30 years, I was the outlier. I was the black sheep. I was the one with wearing the tinfoil hat, talking about aliens and all this other stuff that people are going, you're smoking too much weed, Bauer. Well, I was smoking plenty of weed.
Well,
that was true,
but
I
take umbrage.
There is nothing that I have pointed out over the last 30 years that hasn't become true. There are a few things that are yet to be proven. One of them, I said, and this is after I got out of my my theological and Christian ministry, was that religion would be exposed to theology in general as one of the biggest hoaxes ever perpetrated on man. Because it's all made up. Mm-hmm. It's all bullshit. Mm-hmm. I don't care what religion, belief system, or otherwise, you pick one. It's all bullshit. It has components of truth. There are elements of reality within, but the majority of it, the stories and the mythos, they took some type of historical event and just blew it up into some moral and ethical teaching to try to herd the folks at the time.
Yes.
But religion is bullshit. And it's kept people from finding out about their true nature of who they really are and what their capabilities are. Because if people realize the power of their mind, the mind over matter thing is just mind-boggling in its truth. But if people knew what they were truly capable of, you can't control them. So if you're going to control everybody, you got to give them a bunch of boundaries. You got to give them fences. You got to corral them. And
well, it's like even in the founding of this country, I know Thomas Jefferson said, you can make application with this. He said, liberty too must be limited in order to be possessed. So that means even the things that we have freedom to do, we have to limit them. We have to put self-limitations on them, sometimes corporate limitations on them, in order for them to be possessed in a right way. And so I get that part. So we are not libertines in this country. We have limitations on our liberty and self-placed limitations on our liberty. So,
but at the same time,
you can make application with that.
Yeah, and at the same time, we are the freest country in the known history of man. We have done more to liberate odd and stanky belief systems, slavery obviously comes to mind, than any other civilization or country that we know of.
Damn straight Iowa X, by the way.
So I think, the whole thing about brainwashing, it's one of those terms that's been hijacked. People are about to go through a very serious brainwashing. Your cranium is about to get douched because there's no other way forward for the freedom of the individual, the sovereignty of self, than to wipe away everything that you think is true or that you believe and start over.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really tough for a lot of people.
Brianna, is that really you?
Stop!
It's not. So
what was that?
Some guy having fun.
So,
but that was not Brianna. So
IOX says we would all be in re-education camps right now, if not for the Second Amendment.
Yeah,
true.
That's what I just said.
But
damn Skippy,
we do need to be re-educated.
Yes. Well.
We do.
There's a difference, though, obviously, in what he's saying and what you're implying.
Well, it's just like I was saying about brainwashing. People have complained about being, people have been brainwashed. Well, yes, they have. They need to be rewashed. And that's it's being forced on people. So when your belief system includes some kind of theology that requires some hierarchical penance to some invisible entity in the sky that apparently has some male orientation who floats around with a bunch of angels, when you find out that that's not true and that's how you've lived your life, that's going to screw with your noggin.
Well, that's it. Exactly.
So anyway, just some of my my personal thoughts on, not only what's going on, but what I've seen for the last 5 decades that I've been kind of conscious of. But these things are about to happen. And one of the most important things that I think people, and we talked a little bit about this when we went into time travel. One of the most important things people can do is learn how to make predictions. And there is no specific science to it. There's some unique attributes and different techniques that you can use. But the best way to gauge your grasp of reality is to make predictions and see how they come out. What do you make a prediction on? Well, you've got data laying all around. You're getting plastered with it all day long. You look at that data and you, as we said in that show on time travel, we're always living in the future. So you're always in a predictive mode, whether you realize it or not, because you're going from one second to the next thing. Well, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? What am I going to think next?
Yeah.
So when you see people like, for example, Peter Schiff, here's an oddball thing, who's a economist. This guy's got a track record of making predictions on what's going to happen in the market. It's pretty uncanny. And he makes them several years in advance. And when he makes them, people jump on his ass. They trash him, give him all kinds of, yeah, you're just a nut job. And then his shit that he says comes true. And then it's crickets. So gauging your ability, gauging your grasp on reality is dependent on your ability to make predictions. And people should really get into the model and the mode of making predictions for themselves and for their families and in what they want to do in the future. Because you're always living in the future.
Sure.
You're present at the moment that the future happens, and then you're not.
Yeah.
Then you're
already moved into the future. Exactly.
So these concepts are very simple, but they get to the core of how we function in our reality.
Good night, Brianna.
Good night, Brianna. So that.
See, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't interject with people, but we're in the casual format.
No.
So
the ability to think about how can I look to the future and make a prediction based on the information that I have, and then just kind of put a little stake there and then see how it unfolds. determines how well you were grasping reality at the time you made the prediction.
Yeah.
It's kind of simple. And it's an inherent nature of our psychic abilities, of the consciousness that animates our meat sack.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple.
I get that.
I think there's been way too much complicated middlemen and interjection and stacking of stuff between who we are and the one. Because
Yeah.
I remember back in the 90s when, even the 80s, when a lot of this new age shit started getting going, and it had good intent, had good premise, but everybody kept saying, well, you got to find a way to be one with the one. You've got to do various things, meditation, mantras, rituals, practices, and otherwise. To me,
I am one with the force, and the force is in me.
Right? To me, you are already the one, because if we are going to the biblical, the Judeo-Christian belief system, we are made in his image. He, they, them, whatever identity they had. They used us because it actually says make man in our image. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
plurality.
Right?
Elohim.
So you look at that and go, well, why can't I do that invisible shit that you guys got going on?
Yeah.
Right?
Why not?
You missed a piece. So if you think about, if we are made in that image, we are made from that force, that entity, that whatever it is, then we are already the one, because we are a part of it. There is no need to go and search for it other than within. You don't need a book. You don't need an institution. You don't need a church. You don't need some dude in a hat and a cape and burning incense. You are already the one. And once you realize that, the freedom and the liberty that comes out of it is just phenomenal. I mean, when I had that realization, I was like, holy shit. I don't have to do anything other than find myself and understand the oneness that I have with the one. I think if people looked at the simplicity of that and internalized it, boy, could they just shed a whole bunch of crap that has been, shoved on you, in you, around you for millennia. There's all kinds of forces, and you've got all of your our cosmic cousins, and who are extremely stealthy. You've got the reptilians, you got the archons, you got the Pleiadians, and then you have angels and demons, and you have all these spirits, and it's like, where the fuck are these people? Yeah. I never see them. I mean, I know people have.
If I've encountered them, I have no idea I have encountered them.
Right? I haven't.
So.
I have seen recently with the lovely Miss Biddle. We both were sitting out on the deck one night, and we both saw a fucking UFO go right over our heads. And that was one of the first times I'd ever seen something that profound and had a witness. So
that's pretty cool.
Oh, it was very cool. Those
are the things you don't really have a camera available ever for that stuff. It just happens.
Well, we had our phones sitting there, but it just went
too fast.
We're looking at it going, the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And I'm out here in UFO land. I got military dumbs below me. I've got alien bases out at Archuleta Mesa. I got all kinds of shit going on around out here. And if I put my ear to the ground, I can actually hear them working their machines and having lunch breaks.
Having lunch breaks?
They're nice. Chatty fuckers.
Who ate my yogurt? It specifically said Bob's Yogurt.
I think Bob's Burgers. Isn't that the movie that's out?
Amanda Berry, she's got all kinds of stuff that happens down there in Australia. Speaking of UFOs.
Oh,
she
yeah.
Go
they
over
got
to her channel, see some of her videos and her pictures.
There's some crazy shit going on. But one of the things that I've found, and maybe I should just leave it with this. One of the things that I've found in my data gathering, and because everybody, if you're not paying attention to all of the information that's available, you're going to miss out, and you might get mowed over because there's so much of it out there that it's a tsunami of data. But one of the things that I've noticed, which has been just extremely fascinating to me, is that all of the things that are called or put into the paranormal category, the ghosts, the entities, and if you're not watching the latest stuff on Skinwalker Ranch, these guys are
That
throwing
stuff is pretty interesting.
the latest season. They are throwing some serious tech at this, and the anomalies they're getting are just, I mean, you're watching
That's on Discovery, right? You find that on Discovery
History
Plus,
Channel.
or
History Channel.
that's not always been on History Channel, has it?
Yeah, it has. The Secrets
I was
of
watching it
Skinwalker
all
Ranch.
second season. I don't recall ever being on the History Channel.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's been right after the Curse of Oak Island, and
They must rebroadcast these on, or also broadcast them on Discovery Plus.
I
I
think they're
that's where
actually,
I've seen it.
it might be owned by the same company.
So
But one of the things I just find fascinating is how stealthy all these things are. You hear anecdotal things, you get little components of data and information, rarely empirical evidence. But it doesn't matter if it's a UFO, an angel, a demon, a spirit, doesn't matter. These fuckers are stealthy because they happen so rarely and so isolated that you kind of go, well, what is that? You know, some of the stuff that you and Scotty have done up at the haunted castle and at the grounds.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are conjuring that shit.
we wonder sometimes,
Right?
You know,
Because
you wonder because you can conjure
and
that
that's
stuff.
one of the powers that we have in our consciousness and our psychic abilities. So I find that, you know, to me, the jury is still out because there's so little evidence. There's they're so infrequent, except for things like what's going on at Skinwalker Ranch. That's some crazy ass
Right.
shit that's going on there.
That's a little different.
Yeah, I
They're
don't know
finding
what's happening
physical
there.
evidence of things. So,
But anyway, that's my rant for the evening. I'm
and
not even sure
the
why
whole conjuring thing, yeah, I think that's something we can all do if we're. It's not even a thing of being careful. It's just I think the doing of it sometimes conjures.
and I think that it's the intent behind it.
The intent behind it.
A lot of people got wrapped up in the secret. What was that back in the early 2000s? And, you know, on the law of attraction. And I said, okay, all of that makes sense, but you've skipped a step. The most important thing is the law of intention.
Yes.
Because intent will focus your attraction. And that's another part of I think a natural part of the habit and nature of our consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that shit's about to be exposed in ways that people are going to go, I don't know. That's really messing with my belief system. It's like, well, because your belief system needs to be messed with because it's messed up.
Thank you. Just love nakedness.
Yeah.
So,
anyway,
all right, let's move on from that. A little too deep for 11:44. Well, no, it's not. Too deep for my brain right now.
Right.
So,
well, that's
no, it's not.
You know,
my brain's just tired right now.
That's what happens when you push one of my buttons. It's like, oh shit, look out.
Oh yeah.
Here comes the door. It's opening.
There it is. So, my wife is tired. She's ready to go to bed.
I'm going to go watch my movie and have a big old bottle of water.
She can't. Open mic. She just said, I can't find any freaking pants. Well, hey, you know, you're the bad genie.
I said, free the bad genie.
Free the vagini, she said tonight. I'm an emancipator. That's all I can say.
You're a freedom lover.
Yes. Let my people go. Let my pee go. You're so naughty.
No, don't let it go. Grab it.
Come here. So,
Go to bed.
I'll see you in a bit.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, Rainey.
Good night.
So she had pants on that time. Boxers.
Oh,
She found some boxers.
there you go.
So yeah, it's never too late for a little brain stimulation, says Roger Rabbit. Yeah, these are things, yeah, it's a misnomer of me to say I'm too tired or not. Nah, it's just end of the day for me. Long day. That's all. So I just sit and listen sometimes. We'll have to go at this in a little more depth. Some of the stuff is, I think, stuff that we need to talk about. So
I think that, most of what, well,
yeah,
hell,
that's
no.
funny, Roger Rabbit, isn't it? What's the It's boxers.
I will say this, that I think that the Depp Heard trial this week
Oh yeah.
had a couple of components to it that are worth considering. Number one,
Mhm.
a lot of the Me Too movement took a hit because
Big time.
men too got us a victory.
I say that Amber Heard is what's the what I put up on my Facebook. I just put a one-liner and everybody got all pissy. Well, a couple of people got pissy at me. A lot of people enjoyed it. I don't want to paint that in the wrong picture. What did I say yesterday? I said here, I got to find it now. It was so simple I can't remember what the hell I said. Amber Heard is the reality check that the Me Too movement deserved. Or as Rainey puts it, the hashtag Me Too. She calls it the pound Me Too.
That's what I said when they first came out with
the pound Me Too
yeah,
movement.
Hashtag Me Too. I said, well, that's a pound sign.
There it is.
You guys, does anybody, run any kind of filter through the bullshit that it's like this build back better bullshit. Nothing's built, nothing's back, and nothing's better. So how did that slogan work out for you?
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing is that, this whole Me Too thing stirred up this thing about women need to be believed.
Yes.
Now, anybody needs to be heard. Then you need to verify.
That's it.
Before you believe.
The way I heard it put very recently is in the last couple of days was a woman should be heard. Her story should be believed, but verified. Meaning, if you're going to make an accusation, better be ready to be scrutinized to make sure that your story is telling the truth, especially if somebody's reputation can be ruined. Now, as you probably have heard, maybe you have or haven't heard this, others on this channel have heard this. I have a friend who was accused by a woman of rape. And he was somebody who was a good, he was an intellectual. He was a business writer, very successful. He was a public speaker. He was flown around the world by corporations to speak to their businesses. One of them being Guinness, which I thought was very cool. He was a professional photographer and a voiceover talent. So now what happened 3 years ago? When he was accused by a very unlikely person. And by the way, I've known this guy for 25 years. Not a rapist. Did not rape anybody. I'm sorry. People say, well, you don't know what people really do. Yeah, there's some people you do. But there are people who we found out his accuser had done this to somebody else before. So, but you can't admit that into evidence. It's not evidence. So anyway, all of that pushed aside. This happened to him. The accusation came out right in the middle of the Kavanaugh hearings and the big cresting of the Pound Me Too movement. And he lost reputation. He lost contracts with publishers, contracts for photography, contracts with voiceover stuff. He was shunned on the basis of a woman's story.
Mm-hmm.
But we should believe her because a woman wouldn't step forward making an accusation like that if it wasn't true. I brought this up the other day. I had a good friend of mine that was a former roommate of mine was attempting to take me to task in public online and social media a year or so ago, and said something to the effect of, there used to be a lot of women that used to come to you and need help, and now they won't talk to you anymore. I said, well, that's news to me. I said, but I've also haven't been in any position to give advice to anybody, over 10 years. It's not in the same circles anymore. And I said, you want to share with me what the major problem is? Well, what it really came down to was my politics, who I voted for, my politics, stuff like that. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. I knew that's where he was going with it. But then he brought up the whole thing of believing a woman because she makes the accusation. Women should be believed, and you don't believe them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, that's not true. I said, I believe women should be believed the way men should be believed. They should all be treated equally. I said, we're all for blurring the lines between the sexes, as we've been all about for decades. But there are certain things. But if a woman says something, it's true. We can hold that out of the blurring of the sexes as the standout. And I said, let me ask you a stupid rhetorical question. I said, and let me ask this of you, pretend you're my friend. And I said, if a woman accused you of rape and you knew you didn't do it and you knew the story was false, would you still believe her? I said, because what you just told me is that we should always believe what the woman is saying when an accusation is made. I said, would you believe her if you knew that you didn't do what she claimed she did? I said, if you can't say yes to that, if you can't say, yes, I would believe her, despite my own lack of knowledge of having done anything wrong, I would still have to believe her. I said, unless you can do that, you're being disingenuous. You're more than disingenuous, you're being kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just because a woman's mouth is moving in an accusation doesn't mean she's telling the truth. And I think this is maybe, if there's any one good thing that came out of big celebrity trial, is that it was pretty hammered home by a jury of her peers that there was evidence saying that she was not to be believed.
Well, she proved that she was
Yeah.
very unreliable in her story. Her acting sure as hell didn't work in her favor. And one of the things about Depp is that here's a guy who just laid it all out: the drugs, the stupidness, the sloppiness. But it was clear that he was self-destructive. He was not outwardly destructive. He pounded on stuff, but his destruction was self-inflicted. Her destruction was outwardly destructive.
Yes.
Okay? And I think that a lot of people started to see that. And let's not even bring up the whole gold digger thing. I mean, where are the women getting called out for that bullshit? And then our laws about how men just get raked over the coal when they go to court.
Sure.
And all that other shit. But anyway, the other thing that I thought was extremely funny was our old buddy Elon Musk, right? He goes and tries to buy Twitter. And he says, well, here comes the attacks. Well, sure as shit, somebody comes up and says, well, Elon did this or whatever else, and he put it up, and I thought it had a double entendre going on. He says, "Well, let's just call it elongate."
Nice. Elongate.
This guy,
Nice.
he's just he's so authentic, genuine, and off the cuff that it's hard as hell not to like him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, aside from all the amazing shit he does. But anyway, those are my other two comments about the news of the week. And, the rest of it is you have to pay attention. You got to figure out how to use your own discernment. Yeah, you have to discriminate, which is one of the many words has been hijacked. You've got to discriminate the information that you're getting.
Yes.
You have to use discernment. You have to use an objective, neutral, observational capability.
Exactly.
With everything that comes in, and the more fine tuning you do on your filters that's coming through your frame of reality, the easier it's going to be to not only sort through and get the stuff you want, but just ignore all the other bullshit. I mean, there is the noise level, the signal to noise ratio is off the charts, and it's just getting started.
Oh, by the way, Hawk in the chat room. I'm only doing this because I enjoy it. But I didn't know I was being asked to sing a sea shanty. You asked if I knew any, and I gave you one. But here, this is just for Hawk. Oh, the year was 1778. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. A letter of marque came from the king to the scummiest vessel I'd ever seen. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. And it goes on for like 13 verses.
All right, with that, I'm going to go find a bottle of rum.
Aye, rum.
Aye, Captain.
Aye. I would drink me some rum. Amanda's is pretty prolific over there in the chat room tonight. Take my words wisely. It's not right, Scott. Many women are just as equal at abuse and hell. Yes, sir. Women I know have destroyed awesome men. Yeah. And right now, I was going to tell you that my friend who was accused of rape, who did not do this thing, had everybody turn on him that used to support him, all on the basis of an accusation, not a proven accusation, but the basis of an accusation.
Yep.
And there was also the woman who made the accusation. Now, this friend of mine is he's 2 years older than I am, so he's roughly yours and my age. Consummate professional, great comedian. Oops, I hit the button. I'm going to adopt some puppies for next winter. Well, there you go. I got my own pair. So, oops, Iowa. Trying to not push that button. And so that was back during the Kavanaugh hearings that the accusation was made.
Yeah.
Since then, that woman who is a third his age, I want to say something. I'm not sure I can, but all I know is this. Let's say she was enriched, not by my friend, by the system that was in place. She, you could say $350,000, maybe a little more, a little less, something like that. And then she wouldn't show up for the trial dates. She would always have a reason for not coming to trial. That thing got postponed until yesterday. It finally started. Since the beginning of the Kavanaugh hearings till now.
Jesus.
Now, my friend's pretty confident he's gonna win. He's still nervous. It's nerve-wracking after he's watched his reputation go down the tubes for doing nothing. After he's watched a lot of people who knew him turn on him. What's he going to feel? My attorney's pretty confident, but you never know what the fuck is going to happen, he said. It's just, that's the nature of these things these days. So I believe, I don't know what bearing it would have on a jury or a judge or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you what, the outcome of the celebrity trial is something that I hope will start to take hold in our society. It's the beginning of something that says, not a trend in the other direction. I don't think there should be a trend back to the common sense of the middle.
Character
And,
assassination is the tool of weak minds.
yes.
In fact,
Man
that's,
said court cases are hard and energy depriving. Yeah, they are.
well, that's how I look at, and it's a generalization, but these neolibs and progressives and folks that are just ideologically bent that make a lot of noise with a lot of emotion.
Yes.
Those should be, again, going back to how do you fine tune your filters? Well, if somebody's yelling in your face, telling you that you have to say the words that are coming out of their mouth in order for you to be accepted into their tribe, that's the first flag. I mean, it's like, okay,
Yep.
now wait a minute. There's some real problems here with the approach, the content, the intensity, the way it's being delivered, etc. So really, in general, the neolib progressive ideology seems to be a bunch of weak men and angry women.
You hate to put it that way, but that's that ends
The
up being the fact
generalization, but
of the matter.
I mean, there's just the men over there are a bunch of pussies, and the
Mhm.
women are all pissed off.
Yeah.
It's like they are such unpleasant people to be around.
Yes.
You can't have a conversation with them unless the conversation contains the words that they approve of,
Yes.
the terms that they approve of, the framing that they approve of. It's like, if you're going to come at me and you're going to yell at me and tell me that I must because you think, you're fucked. I'm not interested. I'm not going to have a conversation with that kind of model. It's
Mhm.
just, it's not respectful. It's not authentic. Well, it's authentic in their craziness. There's no integrity in it.
No.
And if you're telling me, it's like this whole woke thing, when every time they come up with something, they got to
Mhm.
take an existing word and fuck with it, and mangle
I
it, and
know.
manipulate it. It's
Yeah.
like they started saying woke, and I said, well, woke is something I do after my eyes open in the morning,
Yeah.
not
And
this
it's something
other
that
shit.
there's a spiritual aspect of being awake that has nothing to do with being woke.
Yeah, to me, it's
So
the most important thing is awareness. Because if you're
aware
not
that you are
aware what
awake.
the fuck is going on around you, it's going to mow you over.
Yep.
And we're seeing that all over the place in every institution, every social fabric, a patchwork in the social fabric that has this ideology in it is just coming unraveled.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can look at the entertainment industry, even the legal system. We've got these, like George Gascon or whatever, the
Yes.
attorney over in L.A.
Yep.
He's getting his ass handed to him. One of the courts said, no, you have to uphold the law as it's written. And there's
Mhm.
over 500,000 signatures for his recall. This
Yeah.
guy has just been a complete disaster in California, my home state. And
Yeah.
what those people have done to my home state is just, I tell you what, the only thing left over there is the beauty of the nature. The people,
Yeah.
they have just, they've turned the place into a big trash man.
Amanda Berry's right. Minds are screwed.
Yep. You got to unscrew your mind.
Yep. Well, Prof, we're going to call it a night, I think.
I'm down with being out.
It's midnight here, which ain't late, except I've been going since 5 a.m. And so I'm about toasted out in my brain.
I am
And,
right there with you. I'm going to go watch my Black Widow movie and sit there and surrounded by my pups. And we're going to watch Scarlett Johansson do her magic. Because I tell you what, that woman she's pretty damn good when
she's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember her? I think it was her first movie. Saw it in the theater. The Horse Whisperer.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
I believe that was that Robert Redford movie. And who was it? Kirsten Scott? Is that the actress's name? But it's about the young girl 13, 14 years old who has a horse accident, and she loses her leg, and she thinks she'll never ride again. And Robert Redford's a rancher out in Wyoming, and it's how they go about healing this horse, but then find out it's not about healing the horse at all. It's about healing the girl. Well, the young girl, the teenager, was Scarlett Johansson, and in this movie. So if you've never seen that movie,
I don't
The
recall
Horse
that one.
Whisperer, it is well worth seeing. I ranked that up pretty high. Not one of my favorite movies. I wouldn't put it in my favorite top 10, but it's up there in the high echelons of movies that I think were really well done.
One
And
of her
course,
other movies that I found a few years ago that really enjoyed is called Lucy.
was that the naked alien one?
No, she's a
Oh, I know which one that is.
she ends up, it's Morgan Freeman's in it, and there's some drug that expands the human capability to these just unimaginable skills, and she's just a college student over in Asia. She gets a friend of hers is some kind of trader or something. I mean, he's a black market guy, and he's done some big Chinese dude wrong. He gets slaughtered while she's trying to help him. They take her and they stuff her with as a basically a carrier. They had like a half a dozen of these people. They open them up. They put these big bags of this nasty drug in, and in the process, at some point in the process, the bag, she gets kicked and the bag opens up in her, and she becomes like
Gross.
superhuman.
Oh.
And her mind, or everything, body, everything. And Morgan Freeman is a scientist who has been going through different studies trying to figure out how to enhance the human biome and the genome and everything else. And it's a fascinating storyline, and she's awesome in it. So it's called Lucy. It's on Amazon.
Okay. I remember when that movie came out. I'll have to look it up and watch it.
Yeah.
So,
All right, my friend. Well, I'm going to go turn on that movie and enjoy that. You have a great weekend.
and
Thanks for
you
letting
too.
me crash your
You
show again.
too. And if you haven't seen it yet, tune in Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
The latest episode. Again, every one of these are hitting it out of the park for me.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that one of these nights.
One of the
when
other
we
things
get
I
into
think
pop
is really
culture.
cool, we had talked about Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
One of the technologies in there that is just mind-boggling is the spore drive, the mycelium, mycelium network throughout the universe. I'm going, there might be something good there.
Yes.
It makes
very
some sense.
interesting. We should develop that.
Go.
So, all right, Professor, you have a good night.
Do the same,
Good
my
weekend.
friend. I will talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.
You too. Good night. Oops, I cut him off too soon. Anyway, folks, thanks for being here. I appreciate your time. And thanks for joining me, kind of off the cuff. Man, that wind, it just took, look at that. Look at that. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to go totally bald here. And that's all I'll just let this all grow out. There you go. That's what's going on. That's what's going on right now. So, boy, it's getting fluffy. All right, guys. So, thank you. Thank you, my dear. Means a lot coming from you. So, yeah, it's a good look for me, all right. Either that or I'm going to shave it all bald and wax it. Tan it. It'll squeak. It'll be so clean. All right, guys. You guys have a good night. We're going to be back on Sunday morning. Probably. I don't see any reason we're not going to be. Unless tomorrow's a crazy day and we just go, hey, need a total day off. But I doubt that that's going to happen. So we'll see. Go for me for a toupee. I will never, ever wear a toupee unless it's for a role in a movie or something. Like, here, you got to wear this toupee. No, if I go bald, I go bald. And so I'm already halfway there. Look at that. So we've talked about that before. Dumb topic, but there it is. Sometimes from certain angles, it looks pretty good. You look at it from the top and the back. You know, I've got like a map of the Aegean Islands in my bald spot on the back of my head. So, why, thank you, Amanda. She said I was fine. So, I think that's what she was saying. Anyway, it's all I got for tonight. I just wanted to come in and make up a little time for all the time I missed this week. All the dumb things that went on this week. So that's all I got. So you guys have a good night. And you know what? I just want to tell you, you know this. I'm just looking for the right button to push. Live long and prosper. Here's Sunday morning's intro for a little out for tonight.